Have you ever encountered an animal at a peculiar moment and felt something stir within your soul? A raven appearing before a significant decision, a dog crossing your path during times of uncertainty, the sudden presence of an ant when you were contemplating something important. What if I told you these weren't mere coincidences? What if Allah, in His infinite wisdom, uses His creation to communicate messages that our hearts desperately need to hear? Today, we'll unveil the profound spiritual significance behind certain creatures that appear in your life. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why the chosen ones, those whom Allah guides with special signs, must pay attention when these divine messengers cross their path. This knowledge has been hidden in plain sight, woven into the fabric of Islamic tradition, waiting for those with awakened hearts to recognize it. Stay until the end, because what you're about to discover will transform how you perceive every living being around you. Allah speaks to us through countless channels, and His creation serves as one of the most profound mediums of communication. The Quran reminds us in Surah An-Nahl, verse 68-69, how Allah inspired the bee, giving it purpose and direction. This divine inspiration extends throughout creation. When we speak of being chosen, we're addressing those whom Allah has blessed with spiritual awareness, the ability to see beyond the surface of existence. These individuals recognize that nothing in this universe occurs without purpose. Every rustling leaf, every bird's flight pattern, every creature that enters your field of vision carries potential meaning. Our Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us to observe creation with contemplative hearts. He didn't dismiss the natural world as meaningless. Rather, he found profound lessons in every aspect of it. The companions learned to read the book of nature as they read Revelation. But here's what many don't understand. These signs aren't superstitions or pagan beliefs. They're part of Allah's mercy. Gentle nudges to redirect us, warnings to protect us, or confirmations that we're on the right path. The difference between superstition and spiritual awareness lies in your response. Superstition breeds fear and irrationality. Spiritual awareness breeds consciousness of Allah and draws you closer to Him. When an animal appears during a critical moment in your life, your soul recognizes something your mind hasn't yet processed. This recognition is a gift, a form of divine communication reserved for those who maintain their connection with their Creator. Let us begin with one of the most misunderstood creatures in creation, the spider. Most people recoil at the sight of one, yet this small architect holds profound significance in Islamic history. Remember the cave of Thar? When the Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr sought refuge from those who wished them harm, Allah sent a spider to weave its web across the cave entrance. That fragile structure, which any hand could destroy, became an impenetrable fortress through Allah's will. The pursuers reasoned that no one could have entered without disturbing the web. When a spider appears in your life, especially during times when you feel vulnerable or exposed, recognize it as a message. Allah is creating protection around you that others cannot perceive. Your defenses might seem weak to the human eye, but they're fortified by divine decree. Perhaps you're facing opposition at work, dealing with people who scheme against you, or navigating a situation where you feel outnumbered. The spider's appearance whispers a powerful truth. Your protection doesn't depend on your strength. It depends on Allah's will. But here's the warning embedded within this sign. Just as the spider's web protected the Prophet through Allah's decree, remember that all worldly fortifications are ultimately fragile. The Quran describes the example of those who take protectors besides Allah as being like the spider's house, the frailest of dwellings. This teaches balance. Trust in Allah's protection completely, but don't place your ultimate security in anything worldly. If you've been seeing spiders frequently, examine your life. Are you feeling exposed, vulnerable? Are enemies plotting against you? Take it as reassurance that Allah has already set protective measures in motion. Strengthen your prayer, increase your remembrance of Him, and watch as situations that seemed threatening mysteriously dissolve. The crow carries weight in Islamic tradition that few comprehend. This intelligent creature was humanity's first teacher of burial, as mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 31. After Cain killed Abel, he didn't know what to do with his brother's body. Allah sent a crow, which scratched the earth to show him how to bury the dead. When a crow appears persistently in your life, it signals that you're entering a period of profound transformation. Something must be buried. Perhaps an old version of yourself, a toxic relationship, a harmful habit, or a chapter that has ended. The crow doesn't bring death, it brings the wisdom to properly conclude what needs ending. Many people fear the crow, associating it with bad omens, but this perspective misses the deeper spiritual reality. The crow teaches us that endings are sacred. Not everything is meant to continue forever. Some things must be laid to rest with dignity so that new life can emerge. Here's what the chosen ones understand. The crow also represents hidden knowledge. These birds are remarkably intelligent, capable of solving complex problems and remembering human faces for years. Their appearance suggests that information you need is available, but it's concealed. You must dig beneath the surface, search in unexpected places, and use your intellect to uncover truth. If crows have been appearing in your life, ask yourself, what am I refusing to let go of? What cycle needs to end? What am I afraid to bury? Conversely, what knowledge am I overlooking? What truth is hiding in plain sight? The crow's message demands courage. It takes strength to close chapters, especially when they've defined you for so long. But transformation cannot occur without the death of what was. Trust that Allah is preparing you for something greater, something your current state cannot accommodate. The relationship between Islam and dogs is often misunderstood. Yet the Quran itself tells us a remarkable story that elevates this creature's significance. In Surah Al-Kahf, we learn about the people of the cave, young believers who fled persecution. Their dog accompanied them and is specifically mentioned as being present with them during their miraculous sleep that lasted centuries. Think about this. Allah could have told this story without mentioning the dog at all, but He chose to include it, even stating that the dog stretched its forelegs at the entrance of the cave. This detail isn't trivial, it's divinely significant. When a dog appears in your life, particularly in unusual circumstances or repeatedly, it carries multiple messages. First, it speaks of loyalty and companionship. Examine the people around you. Who has remained faithful? Who stands guard over your reputation when you're not present? The dog's appearance may be directing your attention towards someone whose loyalty you've overlooked or undervalued. Secondly, dogs possess an extraordinary ability to sense danger and ill intentions. They can detect things humans cannot: changes in energy, approaching threats, hidden hostility. When a dog behaves unusually around someone in your life, pay attention. Your soul might be picking up on something your mind is rationalizing away. The warning here is about discernment. Just as dogs can distinguish between friend and foe, you're being called to develop better judgment about the people you trust. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Not everyone who speaks kindly has pure intentions. There's also a message about humility. Despite being powerful enough to guard and protect, dogs are humble creatures. They don't seek glory or recognition, they simply fulfill their purpose. Are you serving Allah with sincere humility, or has pride crept into your worship and actions? If you've encountered dogs during a period of loneliness, consider it Allah's reminder that you're not alone. Just as the believers in the cave had a companion, Allah provides companionship in ways we don't expect. Sometimes it comes through unexpected people, circumstances, or even moments of profound divine presence during prayer. Surah An-Naml contains one of the most extraordinary verses in the Quran. Verse 18, where Prophet Sulaiman hears an ant warning its colony to enter their dwellings, lest they be crushed unknowingly by Sulaiman's army. This tiny creature was given the ability to communicate, to lead, and to protect its community. When ants appear in your life with unusual frequency or in unexpected places, Allah is sending you a powerful message about preparation. Ants are legendary for their work ethic. They gather food during abundance to prepare for scarcity. They don't procrastinate or waste time. Their entire existence demonstrates forward thinking and planning. Are you preparing for your future? Not just materially, but spiritually? Are you building reserves of good deeds for the day when no wealth or children will benefit you, only a sound heart? The ant's appearance is a wake-up call. Stop living moment to moment. Start investing in your eternal future. The second message relates to community and cooperation. Ants accomplish extraordinary feats through collective effort. No single ant builds the colony. They work in perfect harmony, each fulfilling its role without ego or competition. If you're seeing ants, examine your relationship with your community. Are you contributing? Are you working with others, or has individualism isolated you? But here's the most profound aspect. That ant in Surah An-Naml was aware. It recognized a threat and took action. It didn't assume safety. It remained vigilant. Similarly, you must maintain spiritual vigilance. Just because things seem peaceful doesn't mean challenges aren't approaching. The ant also teaches us about Allah's awareness of even the smallest creatures. If Allah hears the voice of an ant and mentions it in His eternal book, how much more aware is He of your struggles, your prayers, your secret tears? When you feel insignificant or forgotten, remember the ant. Your size, status, or position doesn't determine your value in Allah's sight. If ants are appearing in your life, it's time to get organized. Look at your finances, your time management, your spiritual practices. Where is there waste? Where is there neglect? The ant doesn't procrastinate, and neither should you. Begin today what you've been postponing. Prepare today for tomorrow's challenges. In Surah An-Naml, we encounter another remarkable creature, the hoopoe bird that served Prophet Sulaiman. This bird traveled vast distances, observed the kingdom of Sheba worshipping the sun instead of Allah, and reported back with precise information. When Sulaiman questioned its absence, the hoopoe explained its mission of discovery. The hoopoe represents several profound spiritual realities that the chosen ones must internalize. First, it embodies truth-seeking. This bird didn't just fly aimlessly. It went searching for knowledge and returned with valuable intelligence. When a hoopoe or similar distinctive bird appears in your life, it signals that you're entering a phase where seeking truth becomes paramount. Perhaps you've been living on inherited beliefs without investigation. Maybe you've accepted situations at face value without questioning deeper realities. The hoopoe's appearance calls you to become an active seeker. Don't settle for surface-level understanding. Dig deeper into your faith, investigate matters thoroughly, and pursue knowledge with intention. The second message relates to distant vision. The hoopoe could see what others couldn't, both literally and metaphorically. It perceived the spiritual error of an entire kingdom worshipping creation instead of the Creator. When this bird enters your awareness, you're being granted the ability to see beyond immediate circumstances into deeper truths. You might suddenly understand someone's true character. You might perceive the long-term consequences of a decision that seems attractive now. You might recognize spiritual dangers that others are blind to. Don't dismiss these insights as paranoia or overthinking. Your spiritual vision is sharpening. Here's the critical warning. The hoopoe also demonstrates accountability. When Sulaiman questioned it, the bird didn't make excuses. It presented clear reasoning and evidence. Similarly, you will be held accountable for the knowledge you gain. Truth-seeking comes with responsibility. Once you know better, you must do better. If you've been encountering distinctive birds, especially those with striking appearances or unusual behavior, pay attention to what you're learning during this period. What truths are being revealed? What have you been blind to that you're now seeing clearly? This is a season of awakening. The hoopoe also carried messages between Sulaiman and the Queen of Sheba, ultimately leading to her acceptance of truth. You might be positioned to become a messenger yourself, not necessarily of prophecy, but of truth, guidance, and beneficial knowledge. Are you ready to carry that responsibility? When Prophet Musa stood before Pharaoh, Allah transformed his staff into a serpent, a creature that struck fear into the hearts of Pharaoh's magicians. This wasn't random. The serpent represented divine power, manifesting in a form that demanded respect and attention. Encountering a serpent, whether in physical reality or repeatedly in dreams and visions, carries weighty significance. Unlike the gentle messages of other creatures, the serpent's appearance is urgent. It warns of trials ahead, hidden enemies in your midst, or the need for profound spiritual transformation. Serpents move silently, strike without warning, and often hide in places you don't expect. When this creature enters your awareness, Allah is alerting you. Someone in your life is not who they appear to be. There's deception nearby, perhaps in your workplace, social circle, or even family. Not everyone smiling at you wishes you well. But here's what you must understand. The warning isn't meant to make you paranoid. It's meant to make you wise. Increase your spiritual protection. Intensify your recitation of the morning and evening adhkar. Guard your tongue and don't share your plans with everyone. The serpent's appearance is Allah's mercy, giving you time to fortify yourself before the strike comes. The second meaning relates to transformation through trial. Serpents shed their skin, emerging renewed. You might be entering a period of intense difficulty, a trial that will strip away layers of your old self. This process is painful, but it's purposeful. What emerges on the other side will be stronger, wiser, and more spiritually refined. Prophet Musa's staff-turned-serpent also swallowed all the serpents created by Pharaoh's magicians. This demonstrates that authentic divine power always overcomes false power. If you're facing people who seem to wield influence, authority, or control over your circumstances, remember, their power is illusory compared to Allah's. The serpent reminds you that truth ultimately devours falsehood. Here's the critical action step. When serpent symbolism enters your life, increase your spiritual practices immediately. Don't wait. Fast if you're able. Give charity, perform night prayers, seek forgiveness intensely. The trial is approaching or already present, and these actions create spiritual armor. Also, examine yourself honestly. Sometimes the serpent represents our own hidden sins, the things we do in secret that could destroy us if left unchecked. Just as serpent venom spreads through the body, sin spreads through the soul. Are there secret habits poisoning your spiritual health? The serpent's appearance might be a final warning. Repent before it's too late. Now that you understand these profound messages, the question becomes, how do you develop the awareness to recognize them? The chosen ones aren't born with supernatural abilities. They simply maintain consciousness of Allah in all circumstances. First, cultivate presence. Most people move through life in a state of spiritual sleep, reacting to circumstances rather than observing them. Start your day by affirming your intention to notice Allah's signs. When you see any creature, pause for just a moment. Reflect on its characteristics and ask, is there a message here for me? Second, maintain consistency in your spiritual practices. The more connected you are to Allah through prayer, Quran recitation, and remembrance, the more attuned you become to His subtle guidance. Your heart develops sensitivity that others lack. Third, journal your observations. When you notice an animal appearing repeatedly or during significant moments, write it down. Document what was happening in your life at that time. Over weeks and months, patterns will emerge that reveal how Allah has been guiding you all along. Fourth, don't dismiss these signs, but don't worship them either. The animals aren't divine, they're tools Allah uses to communicate. Your devotion remains directed solely to Him. These observations should increase your awe of Allah's creativity and His intimate involvement in your life. Finally, act on the insights you receive. Awareness without action is meaningless. If the spider tells you you're protected, stop living in fear. If the ant calls you to prepare, start organizing. If the serpent warns of enemies, increase your spiritual defenses. Signs are given so that you can respond appropriately. The universe is speaking, beloved believers. Every creature, every element of creation, operates under Allah's command and serves His purpose. The question isn't whether signs exist, they're everywhere. The question is whether you've awakened to see them. You are among the chosen ones, simply by virtue of having watched this message to its completion. Something in your soul recognized truth here. Honor that recognition by living with greater awareness. Pay attention to the living beings around you. Notice the patterns. Listen to the whispers of divine guidance that come through unexpected channels. Allah says in the Quran that He will show us His signs in the horizons and within ourselves until it becomes clear that this is truth. The animals crossing your path are part of those signs, clear indicators that you're being watched over, guided, warned, and prepared. If this message resonated with your soul, share it with others who are ready to awaken. Subscribe to continue this journey of spiritual deepening. And most importantly, strengthen your relationship with Allah, for He is the source of all guidance, the revealer of all signs, and the ultimate destination of all souls. May Allah grant us eyes that see, hearts that understand, and the wisdom to respond when He speaks to us through His magnificent creation. Amen.